Hey guys, my name is Seniac and welcome back to another episode of Subway Builder, the UK edition. Well, last episode, guys, we finally completed a big mega project of creating our great big loop. It was expensive, but we managed to get there in the end. We now have 2 lines on the mega loop going one counterclockwise and one clockwise. And if you combine them both together for the route ridership, it becomes 260, which will put it in second place if you combined the both. Actually, those numbers are now starting to slightly increase a bit more. So the loop line combined is doing pretty well. And we can see that within our revenue that we've now started to generate. So if I go all time, this is where we was before we completed the loops. And this is where we now are after the completed loop. And that equates to now going to nearly 1 billion big ones in profit. Well, today I'm going to do some more extensions. I'm going to extend some more lines right now. And now we've got the loop set up. We need to start extending the lines further past the loop, which brings more passengers to it. And I thought, there's a couple of airports down here. And in my head, I'm thinking, hold on, Gatwick Airport's not that close to London. And then I realized, oh, hold on, this is not Gatwick. This is Biggin Hill. I'm not actually sure it's a commercial airport. I think it's mainly for private jets and stuff like that. And I think that's like an old military base, which I can't remember what that one's called. But when you check the demand stats, there's a little bit of population down here, not really that much. You're really on the outskirts then of the game's version of London. But there is a little bit of workers over here as well. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a benefit to connect it all the way up, but I'm thinking if we need to start extending lines further past the loop, we might start with the green line down to an additional airport for the private jets, boys, for the private jets right now, where those rich folios can get on a subway to their private jet. So if you are enjoying the series so far, please make sure you smash that like button down below. Subscribe if you are new, so you do get notified when more episodes do come out. So let's get this rocking and rolling. We need to first figure out where this has the ability to run. And looking at it, it kind of looks like it can bend around here. We've got to bring it south somehow. And I think it's actually quite an easy job, believe it or not. Now, I don't know whether this is elevated or underground. I've instantly forgotten where we currently are. So if I go to -5 and then build off it, there is a slope which would suggest it's a +5 maybe? Yes, it is elevated. Now, is elevation here something we could maybe continue? I reckon to a certain degree we can, which would save me quite a few pennies. So let me pin the demand stats. Let me go to building stations elevated. And let's see what we can do. Now, we can definitely build a station here. And do I throw one in the middle? So that's going to come through there. And then we build a station there. Oh, it's a bit close, but I think we will be okay. We'll build an elevated station here. So I'm making this go all the way round, right? That's what I'm following this kind of line that exists but doesn't exist. I don't quite know. It's an interesting one. And keeping it elevated because there's not much people to transport within this area. So you don't want to invest too much in infrastructure, basically. And then we've got to bring it down to here. So this is where we now start to slowly kind of lose people, if that makes sense. So we're bringing this down. I'm probably going to have to bring it this way and then bend it down for it to make sense over here. So bringing that round, we'll do a stop then here. And then my next stop, I don't know whether to I might just kind of snake it down this way. Just because we are going to be struggling for passengers. So if I put you there, and then I chose to put you there. This is all elevated train line, by the way, which feels like it just doesn't make sense in this vicinity. And then we'll end it. Where should we end it? Like here? Right, none of this makes complete and utter sense after a certain point. But I suppose that's the fun of it, right? That is the fun of it. So the cost of those stations alone are 660 million. Let's see if we can now get the train tracks to all hook up. So we're going to have a slight little bit of a problem here, I'm now realizing. So I might just kind of bend it this way to kind of swoop it in that way. To just about push back. And there we go. And then, oh, okay, this is where we're going to have some real fun now. We're going to just quickly get it through there, which we can wiggle it. We've got to get it through here. All right, slight little deviation, which is not deviant enough. There we go. There we go. And then, let's see. We're going to have to skadoodle this through. So if I build like the alignment part of it, it will all then just kind of follow in many ways. Right, to there. And to there. Nice. Okay. That all connects in. Lovely. Jubbly. Now, how much do you reckon this is going to cost me right now? This is going to cost me an arm and a leg, right? This, I mean, it is the cheaper, I mean, whatever I do right now, I know it's one of the cheaper options. That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. So by that logic, I can rest a little bit easier. Right, bend that right round. And then in. And then this is the last one, which it's such a stretch. But it works, okay? It works. I know it's elevated, but just think of that being on the ground like a normal train line, okay? So that's going to cost me 140 billion at the minute. But I do need to add the Chrissy Crossy just in. And that's now going to cost me, 140 billion. Nice. 140 billion. Where am I getting that from? 1.4 billion. Come on, Zodiac. Do you even know how to read right now? Let's commit to those blueprints. And wha-bam. So before we extend the green line, how well is the green line doing? It is the 5th most used line. Now, this is not really going to add many passengers onto it, solely because the areas it go for are not that populous. So it is what it is. I think I also remember someone leaving a comment saying I missed one of the stations on my loop line. I'll have to check that out in just a minute after I've extended the green line, but I may or may not have missed something along the way. Right, let's edit these routes. So let me get right in for the double platform on the current station we have in. And let's now run through all of this. Bam, 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 bam. Very, very nice. Bam, 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 bam. Lovely jubbly. Ba-bam, bam, ba-bam, bam, bam. All right, let's keep it going. And then to there. Right. Glorious. Now, let's confirm those changes. And then we might need to add a few extra trains on. Do you know what? Is 8 going to be enough? I might push it to 10, to 5, to 3. Probably way too many. Let me buy 50 train cars. So I've got them in my back pocket. And then resume. Right, let's fast forward. Let's fast forward. So nice little resume there. We need to find out if I did miss anything. So you can kind of normally tell by the double tags on the platforms. Someone left a comment saying, oh, I did. Kingswood. Right, is that the only one? Right, quickly going through it right now. So yeah, I did miss a station on one of the lines. Just going round and round and round. How foolish of me right now. So where's Kingswood? It's just there. And it's the counterclockwise line that I missed. So add you on and confirm. Right. Back in business, baby. Back in business. So a nice, beautiful green line extension. Now, what that also inevitably does, it also makes this station here that crisscrosses the loop a lot more busier because it's the first line it interacts with. Its first crossover to get to other areas. So if you check the station ridership right now, you can see that the transfers for that are now slightly larger. I mean, we didn't know what it was before, but it's slightly larger than you see any other variant around of crisscrosses. So where the blue line connects, the pink line connects, it's not as ridiculous as this one, which is now rising in numbers since. So it just goes to show that it does work in our favor. So we would have risen a little bit, but not by much. Not by much. You have to wait for like a full day to kind of pass through again. But it's now pushed it to the 4th most used line. So it's bumped its numbers ever so slightly, but we'll see what the next day is going to be bringing. But also, I'm going to start expanding other lines now, so it wouldn't really make much of a difference. Right, so a nice little extension there, which does really help us out. Is there any populous areas, if I check demand stats, that we're not really kind of like servicing that much? There's a lot of areas and gaps in the middle that I should really be taking advantage of. In terms of worker areas, yeah, that does make sense. It does make sense. But I reckon running something that comes down this way wouldn't be too bad of a shout. So coming down there, down here, and then crossing on the important areas, like we cross on the double station there. We can actually cross on the double station here as a way to kind of collect both lines and then just make its way down south. That actually wouldn't be such a bad idea when you think of it. But what if I kind of created that with the thought process of having a smaller inner loop? I don't know. I reckon that's them pushing it a little bit too far. I don't think it's needed, but this kind of important inner route could be quite beneficial. So demand stats anyway, workers. Yeah, dropping it on there is probably the best bet. But this will be expensive anyway, because I'm going to have to make this do a -10 no matter what anyway. But not all areas are going to like it. So if I do a -15 then. Now the elevation for... Oh, that's a -15. Let me go back to -10. It's because these buildings are a lot lower than you expect. So if I mean, I could put it on the road, but I'm going to put it there for like the easiest way to cross it over. And then over here, I do the same again. So we are going south, so I'm just going to treat it like this. So that there and there. And it would be nice to run this then pretty much through and then down. So let me check my demand stats. Let me pin them. Let me build, boys. Let me build right now. So we'll keep it at -10. We're going to come across the water here. And it feels like this one wouldn't make much sense in many regards, but we'll try and follow some organization as best as our ability will allow us. So into there. We'll go to there. And then we'll do one last one there. Right, build tracks. So this should be... Oh. From the get-go. There we go. So you would like to think there's going to be no building problems. That's what you would like to think. So that's like pretty standard, pretty simple. And then it would kind of then encourage me to do like another crossover line. How many crossover points do we want is the question. If you're here and need to get to there, you could just go bam, bam, bam. If you're there and need to get to there, you just go bam, bam. Yeah, it's actually quite easy when you think of it. I don't feel like I need to be stressing too much about any of this. And then do we make it cross? I feel like we should make it crossover at least one more time, just kind of like go through this area. So building stations, I'm going to have it cross here. Now, this is all minus 10, by the way. I'd just like you to all be reminded by this. So I am spending some dollar bills. Right, we're going to divide and conquer the middle and then build. So there's not really much thought process into this apart from it kind of being utilized to access these very, very populous areas. To collect them. That's literally all it is. So we'll add a crossover there, and I'll add a crossover there. So it's kind of... And there's also less stops, arguably. I won't say it's an express line. That's not where I'm going with this. But it cuts through north to south. Oh, we should have really extended up to the loop section up there, shouldn't we? Yeah, we actually should. We actually should. Right, build stations. Right, let me undo my... Let me just press undo, because that undoes my last crisscross. And... Right, I'm going to have to go to a minus 15 on that one. Which is wild behavior. And then I'll do a station there. We'll do a station there. And that will do us. Yeah, that would do us. There's no point in doing anything there because there is literally nothing there. Right, track-wise. Okay, it is going to be hitting a couple of buildings. So I've just got to get it past those initial buildings. Because that's like the old part of London where it seems like the game likes to think the foundations are probably deeper than the new parts of London. Which I get it. I honestly get it. But it's kind of interesting, isn't it? Right, let me add the crossover here. So I do have insufficient funds now. I didn't before, but this has then pushed me over the edge slightly. So the costs of all this are 3.23 billion, which we're literally about to have the exact money. Now that's loop-to-loop line there, that is. That is loop-to-loop line, but what it does is, one, it shortcuts the other way down, but accesses very, very populous areas. I could see this being quite a busy route, like from day one. So let's build the blueprints, and let's see in general. I feel like we should go for like an orange color. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, it's already pre-selected orange. That's hilarious. Orange line. The orange line, boys. The orange line. Right. Edit the route. And trying to get right in. There we go. Let's have some fun with this right now. Keep it going. Keep it going. All right, bam, bam. Making sure I've got everything. I don't want to miss stations like I've been doing recently. Right, last two there and the last one here. Right. That is solid, mate. That is absolutely solid. Okay, let's confirm those changes. Let's add in some trains. So I'm going to add in 6. We'll do a 4 and then we'll do 2. That's probably more than what I need. But I feel like it's... Oh, hold on. I didn't make them bulkier. There we go. Right, the orange line is now in. The orange line's now in. So I reckon we go a full day right now to see what that orange line does. In the meantime, we've had another full day pass for the green line extension, which has now pushed it into 3rd place. We have gained a few additional passengers on the loop lines, but not as much as you expect. But I wonder what the orange line is now going to do as well. That in itself will be pretty interesting. So in terms of demand stats, we are transporting... Now, we could transport a whole lot more people if I made the ticket price a bit cheaper. Which I'm not focusing on that just yet anyway, because, you know, boys, want that cash in the bank. But 8.4%, which is not too shabby. Now, station ridership, what we're now looking at, right, is the transfers on the orange line. So that's already got the crisscrossy over of the other 2 lines anyway. Same with that one. So that would have been busy anyway. It's just as the rush hour now kicks in and more people start to utilize the orange line, you'll then start to see a bit more transfer increasing. And you'll notice more if you start seeing more lines creep up right now, transfers with the orange line thrown into it. So that Lime Street there is definitely increasing, which is that one over there, I believe. We might see, yeah, there we go. There's a second orange line coming into the picture, which is this one here. Now, they already right, had the other 2 lines behind them. You can see that's now increasing. That's now 7k as opposed to what's kind of around it. That's 5k, so you got to give that a little bit more time to grow as well. So it is pretty interesting to see how it kind of works. Now, route ridership's nearly at 100k. It's most likely going to do better than the loop lines. The green line, wow, for a split second there, it's fighting with the blue line. Interesting. Very interesting right there. Right, let's see then what this orange line can actually do, because this is running through the day for the first time ever. This is already, you know, the loop lines are still based on stats from the previous day. So that's definitely going to overtake both loop lines. I can guarantee that right now. And it's about to do the 1 loop line. It's crazy to think that the 1 loop line nearly had 10k more passengers than the other one. Will it overtake the yellow line is the question. Now, theoretically, it should. Oh, and it overtook the pink line as well. Yeah, it's such a busy route. It's all because of the areas it goes through. That's literally all it's because. The areas it go through are quite populous. It passes a worker area down there and obviously the big worker area here. So it becomes quite an important route to travel on. Wow. So it's behind the green line. Will it overtake the green line is the question now. I don't think it will. Not until we've done a few. And once we've done the extensions either side, it might be a contender for the second most used line. And I did not see that coming. I mean, you could kind of tell. Has it hurt the pink line though? You could argue maybe. It's like, what is the benefit of this? Well, that's going to bend down this way. And that's going to go that way. Well, the pink line's going to go that way. So they almost run parallel, but they go in different ways. And while they do cross all the same lines in a different way, they do different purposes. So yes and no is what I'm going to say. Yes and no. Now, in terms of the revenue now, I could pay off my bond here, so I'm no longer paying the interest payments. Thank you very much. We have increased in terms of revenue quite dramatically, but what does that correspond in terms of profit? 1.23 billion. That is absolutely beautiful right now. Wow, okay. I was that's more from the Orange Line extension or the new implementation of Orange Line. That's crazy. Honestly, that is ridiculous. Will we ever see, though, any line overtake the red line? Because the more and more lines I create and connect to the red line, the more passengers it just puts on the red line because of where it goes. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Right, guys, I know it's a short one, but we'll end it there anyway. We set ourselves up quite nicely. Next episode, we'll start sprawling out. We'll start creating the great subway sprawl. And then see if we can turn this into a little bit of a spider's web. But until next time, I will see you all soon. So goodbye.